Hello everyone, and welcome to a new episode of Empowering Voices. Today we have a guest, a very special guest, Jennifer. We welcome you here, and now you will understand why I'm super excited. Jennifer comes from one of the most amazing countries in the world, and a country that has my heart. That is Mexico. And you will see and you hear and you will understand all the beauty of our country through her, who has lived here in London for many years now. So, but I don't want to spoil anything about our guest. I just want to invite her to tell us about herself, what the beauty she creates, and why the words that we chose today for you that who are watching, we have it here on the t-shirt, that is positive thinking. So Jennifer, welcome, and please tell us everything.
Thank you so much, Mara. I'm really so pleased to be here. It took us some time to arrange this chat, and I'm just...
we managed.
But we managed. I'm so happy to be here and to meet you in person. You always can sense the vibes, isn't it? It doesn't matter if it's through Zoom sometimes.
Of course.
Yeah. I was actually very surprised to hear that you live in Mexico, and that is a place that is so close to your heart. Obviously, you know, it's a place that is so close to my heart. My family lives there. I was born in Mexico. I grew up in a Mexican culture that sees colors everywhere. Life is just colorful everywhere. The food, the sweets, you know, when you are little, the sweets are so colorful, and everything is just
and the people so smiling all the time, and so kind, and so, I mean, joyful, and it's really colorful in many ways, not just, of course, the real colors.
It's a colorful culture, definitely. The way people are is just very woo, you know, it's just
fiesta all the time.
It's just bright.
Casa.
Mi casa es tu casa, exactly. Yeah. Yeah, it's a very embracing country, definitely, and they embrace people from all over the world. They're very welcoming, and that's something that, you know, it's definitely, you know, it's in my roots, it's part of my life. And I chosen positive thinking because I mean, I've been through experiences, you know, and there's a person who inspired me to try to always think positively about life and about things, who is my brother. He passed away years ago, and after having suffered a chronic long-term illness, he always, although he was always realistic, his positive thinking, helped him to go through his illness, basically. And I mean, that also helped the family to go through it as well. So I mean, he was always just like making jokes, you know, things like that. So he definitely inspired me to be positive about whatever difficulty I'm facing. But I would like to also talk about what could be toxic positivity. You know, when you are, I know it's a term that I came across not that long ago. And I mean, it's not that it's toxic to be positive, but if you are in a place where you are not feeling good, you are not feeling great, and somebody comes to you and they just tell you, like, you're like, you know, I got this bad news, especially now, probably during the pandemic, I lost my job, or, you know, so many things happened during the pandemic, and somebody comes to you and then you tell them your story, and then they just say, oh, just stay positive or you'll get through it.
Yeah,
it's the end of the conversation.
Exactly.
Basically.
I always make a difference, a big one: positive thinking and think positive. If someone comes to me and say, oh, come on, think positive, I become a monster, really.
Yeah.
Because if I'm down and I'm talking to you and opening my heart, I don't need anyone to say, oh, come on, don't be so heavy or don't think so negatively, but think positive. No, positive thinking, in fact, in my opinion, is a habit that we can use in difficult moments, but that doesn't mean that it's always with us. Sometimes we try to catch it and we cannot do it. But that doesn't mean that we can always be happy and positive also in negative moments. So there are those and that.
Absolutely. And it's part of being human.
Totally.
To feel sad also. It's okay not to be okay.
Exactly.
And it's all about, it's not like, yes, you are always, like,
that's
I'm super happy.
Sustainable.
That's not sustainable. And it's not part of experiencing being a human. And if you are feeling down and if you are talking to a friend, and if maybe that friend, instead of shutting the conversation down by, but just be positive, that's it, isn't it? Because maybe they don't like to feel uncomfortable themselves. And of course you feel uncomfortable with your feelings. Sometimes you already feel uncomfortable. You don't want to say that you're actually feeling down, sad, or anxious, anything. There's nothing wrong with that. We all feel these feelings. We are humans. And if that person maybe tells you, I know you are going through a very difficult situation, and I cannot feel what you're feeling, but if there is anything that you would like to do right now that you would like to, that you will enjoy, I'm happy to do.
What you need is empathy. It's empathy in that moment.
It's empathy rather than sympathy. There's nothing wrong with sympathy. People can express their sympathy through words, it's okay. But it's not about imposing something that is forcing you to, like, the more that you try to force yourself to be good, to be happy, the less
you get it.
Of
course.
So it's about, as you said, it's a habit. I see it as a building up a positive momentum. Small things, it's just like touching stones. What does it, like, for me, being from Mexico, how can I feel a little bit back home? Well, eating tacos. That's my touching stone.
Oh my goodness.
I like a big cry.
I miss them.
But that already, made me feel good. And then, then actually now I feel more like I would like to go out for a walk, or these small steps that build up that positive momentum. And then when you get there to that set point, you're able to do other things, isn't it?
Exactly. Yeah.
Because we are just.
But they are little tricks that are different for everyone.
Yeah.
And the big job is in finding them. But once you have like a little bag. Whatever you need in that moment, you just take one of these tricks and try to go back on track and look around you with more clarity. But until you go through the process, it's impossible. To just say, okay, do you know what? You said to smile and I will be happy. I did it and it worked.
No, it's the opposite. It invalidates.
Exactly. Your feelings.
Genuine emotions that you have.
Yeah.
Like, actually, you are not supposed to be making somebody you feel awkward or wrong because they're feeling uncomfortable emotions. It's not the right thing to do. So so that's why I want to talk about being positive. And it's more about having healthy positivity, isn't it? It's just a healthy positivity. And I think that's something I've been reflecting on. And throughout my experience, it's you can, of course, change your circumstances. You can change your reality, but you have to sometimes go through those difficult emotions before you
to get on the other side. Definitely.
The other side. So
Also, because every change or every growth means pain. And if you don't go through it, you stay in your comfort zone forever.
Yes.
That can be painful as well, by the way.
Absolutely. Just stuffing your emotions doesn't help, but the opposite.
Exactly.
If you are experiencing a little bit of anxiety, and then you feel, I don't know, perhaps a little bit angry, and then you feel perhaps a little bit depressed, and then you perhaps start feeling more depressed. And it's just a pile up as well, isn't it? So there's no point on holding on to those emotions. You have to process them, and then you're able to build up something else, something that is genuinely positive.
But well, we haven't specified yet, but you are a visual artist, among other things, but you create beautiful art. And I really believe in the healing process of art. Do you use it as one of your tricks to get out of negative moments?
I use it in the past. I use it in the past, and then to get through difficult emotions and situations, I came to the terms that I didn't want to do art for people to feel bad. And if I do sometimes art for me to feel better, it's not beautiful art. It's not something that other people are probably going to enjoy.
Okay. Because you feel a bit like you put the negative energy in the piece.
So, I mean, at some point I made that choice. It's just part of my process as well.
Sure.
And sometimes I just feel like I want to just let it out on a painting, and and of course it can be like a beautiful and striking painting, but I just feel I wouldn't like perhaps that vibe to come through somebody's home. I mean, so what I've been doing to deal with those negative emotions is, like, nowadays I do Reiki on myself, which actually really helps. I do like walking a lot. I do go for lots of walks. I process things sometimes first on myself. I sometimes prefer just to go out on my own for a long walk, just to breathe the fresh air and just to ground myself before going through a difficult conversation with somebody. But everybody's different. But okay, coming back to the art. I think I started creating something a bit, like, as you say, beautiful. I thank you for saying it's beautiful.
It is. I invite everyone actually to check on your website.
It's creating like bundles of energy, or positive energy for somebody to have in their own home, basically. So if somebody buys my art, I don't want them to buy it because they just think it's like, because it was in that exhibition, or because
it matches with the sofa.
Because it just matches with the sofa. It has to.
My goodness, that is the worst choice they can do.
No, it matches your vibration. It matches your feeling. If you feel something good and positive, if you feel something positive, what I'm aiming to do, like to get that piece to touch that feeling in the
inner self of the of whoever watched it.
So they have something enjoyable and happy in their home. And for another probably set of paintings, I'll just gonna go like, I'm just gonna let things out and just maybe create horrible art. Probably not horrible, but something that I'll be conscious that maybe people won't like to have in their homes. And
because of course, going through your website, everything is beautiful. Actually, there were two favorite. One is a cactus that I really liked, and the other one, my Mayan heart, that also is beautiful. Well, it was difficult to choose. These two really struck me. They are really
Yeah.
Yeah.
My mind and heart. Yes, that's actually coming out from a story I wrote. Quite a ago, about 10 years ago or something. So I don't like to create art that is just about myself, it's not just me. But that in particular, it was about me, about something that I was going through, and trying to make my heart reconnect to my roots and trying to feel myself. And it is a story I wrote because I like writing as well. I mean, I don't write a lot, but sometimes words come to me and I just probably sort of just channel them or something. So it really felt that it was like me going through, I like photography, and I imagine my heart was getting immersed in this photography liquids that you use to develop pictures. So for me, it was a process, like my imagination process of having my heart sunk into these developing photographic liquids in order to see myself.
Okay, because to develop and see, I mean, the final product was you finally.
Yes.
Yeah. That's a beautiful image, actually.
That feeling, feeling which got represented in the image. So that's why I say that I try to bring things which are maybe ephemeral or they are invisible, because feelings are invisible, aren't they? Or it's imperceptible to the human eye. And I mean, I'm trying to bring those elements on the pieces I create, so people feel something.
Feel the magic, because I think to translate something not tangible into something that you can touch and see is a magical process. That's why I really love the creation with the hands, because from nothing you get to everything. And on a painting, of course, it's shocking and very open. It's there. It's out there completely.
It's like the essence of things. For me, it's like the representing the essence of a feeling, the essence of somebody, a place, myself, nature. That's why I related to alchemy as well. Alchemy, that's transformational process, isn't it? Of distillation, and then you eventually it gets turned into something sometimes quite small, but it's the essence. It's like a perfume, isn't it? And then you feel it or you smell it, and it's like, wow, okay, so
and it inspires the feelings, of course.
Feeling, yes, definitely, I struggle sometimes saying that I'm an artist. I like to say that I'm a creator, and everybody's a creator at the end of the day. I like to do art.
And what is your process, the creative process to get to the final piece? Do you always have a story, like you said about the Mayan heart?
No, not always. I have to say that was when I was studying arts, that's something I struggled with, because I believe that art has to come from your heart and from inspiration. And I struggled so much at trying
with the rules.
I struggled so much with the rules, which were not actually, they were unspoken rules, but you were supposed to intellectualize everything.
And
I really, really struggle with that, because, in the past, people didn't actually study arts. They just created, they just did it, they just felt it. I get why, they try to make you go through that path, because the art market is not easy. Everything has got certain rules at the end of the day as well. So you have to match those rules. So what's expected from an artist, what the gallery is expecting, what people are expecting.
Yeah.
Art nowadays, what people are used to.
Yeah, although I think it's you force a bit the artist and the style of the artist if you think as a end result the marketing. Because I don't want to say names, but Koons, for example, is not an artist for me, but he makes millions. Okay, but that is marketing, right? So while you are studying and you have all your dreams to be the artist, it becomes even more difficult to put yourself under these rules to sell one day. So, and if you are very good at managing the two words, it's fine, because you can keep painting with inspiration and then find a way to sell it. But sometimes I think it's risky because you can merge the two and it's like your style gets diluted a bit because it has to serve a market and not the other way around.
Yes, I agree with that. Yes, sometimes I think some artists end up sacrificing their essence as an artist in order to sell, which is sad, isn't it?
Sure.
And it's not art. It's not about cutting off your wings.
It should be exactly the opposite.
It should be exactly the opposite. Yeah. So, sometimes I was just feeling what I was creating. I was just doing it and, trying to make sense of things. Of course, you try to make sense of things. If you create something, that's you, right? You are seeing yourself in a way in the piece that you created. And of course, it's not about, for me, art is not about creating perfection.
Yeah.
Creating something that is just pleasing to the eye. It's not. It's about the feeling.
Sure.
It's about
totally agree.
Inspiration and the feeling. So I remember when I was studying and my teachers were, okay, so but what is this about? And I was like, well, I took that picture and I remember it was a cloud that looks like with a long tip of cloud going on top of it. It was a really strange phenomena in the clouds. And I was like, my God, that's really magical. That's really interesting. So I took a picture. So I had like different pictures, different drawings. And then my teacher was like, okay, so what is this? I was like, well, it's just what I explained to you. And he told me, is that maybe something to do with the supernatural? I was like, maybe. I mean, we can be anything that sometimes amuses you in that way. Maybe you call it supernatural, but we are superhumans as well.
Yeah.
So, yes, it was. Because I just get the feelings, I just get, the inspiration. I just do it. And another point in my life when I started to understand myself a bit better as a creator was when I discovered intuitive art. And intuitive art is just, flowing. It's just feeling it. It's maybe it's a type of art that doesn't match the market. And I was like, my God, yes, I think I've been doing intuitive art for ages, and I didn't
without knowing.
Without knowing.
Yeah.
Without knowing. And I was like, yes, this is me. It was such a blessing to find out the term for it.
Exactly, because we are used to put labels. So we feel comfortable with labels. We need them. As human, we need them, right? But so until you found that little name, it was like, but I like this, but what is it? Am I an artist? What am I doing? Is it, what did my tutor say? It was supernatural, but I don't feel it like that. Until that little word made sense of your word.
It's at the end, it all comes to inspiration.
Yeah.
Where your inspiration comes from, right?
Yeah.
Where does your inspiration come from? And you can intellectualize things, you know, you can, but for example, if it's photography, then I will go more for documentary, you know, something more like that. So yeah, it's
but is intuitive art, because also I think I mean, the world is going through a different direction, better for artists, I feel, where at least now we have a name for intuitive art. Maybe 15 years ago, intuitive art would have been, excuse me, do you want to be an artist or the hobbyist or the bohemian broke? And so fortunately, we are changing. So intuitive art, because we are going back to nurture our inner self as well, probably we are more prone and open to this kind of conversations. So intuitive art makes more sense today than probably when you were in at university, at the academy, studying. At least, of course, it's not many years ago, but still, it's so evolving, so quickly evolving.
Yes. No, I agree. Yes. Yeah, we're becoming more open, definitely. And then at the end of the day, again, art can be anything according to what art
the artist
for nowadays, isn't it?
Yeah.
In the past, it was more about the technique. The technique is not that appreciated that much nowadays, which I found really hard as well. I was like, oh, okay, I'm gonna learn some techniques. And then I understood. I was happy with that because there were no rules, right? I was like, okay. Well, in a way, I was happy with that because then you have the blank canvas and you can just do anything.
Whatever you want, yeah.
And it was like, oh my God, like that's actually really scary. That's really scary. Like nobody's telling me what to do.
Yeah, the trauma of the blank page is the same. Yeah.
Isn't it? For anything. It can be for like a new chapter in your life, isn't it? It's the same feeling. So yes, if you don't have the support and the encouragement from your teachers to guide you, then you end up thinking like, oh my God, but I don't have like a good technique, you know. I haven't been able to create my own technique. And for me, intuitive art helped me to create my own technique. It's like I feel that my heart is more in there, my signature is more in there, my soul is more in there, because it just allows me to flow, just to embrace that flow and that freedom. And they don't teach you much technique because they don't want you to copy anyone, you know. They don't want you to teach, Picasso's technique or, you know, Frida Kahlo's technique.
But
because you don't want to
do you think, I was having this conversation the other day with my daughter. She's 12, but she said she wants to be an artist. Okay. It's very broad at that age, so it's difficult to say. And we were talking about places where to study in London anyway. And I was saying that generally, the technique, the rules can break a bit your inspiration. At the same time, in my opinion, you need to know what came before you. You need to know very well what other artists did and then evolve. This was my opinion. Their opinion was, I don't care about the past. I want to start from scratch. And I don't know if it's an age gap realization, or you think that still it's important to look back at the past, to know, not to copy again, not to be under their rules, but to see what was produced in any field. I want to say, not just, I don't know, surrealism, more than Renaissance or whatever style. I think you need to know a bit everything.
Yes,
my opinion.
You have to know the history of things. You have to have that appreciation. It's like humans, and you talk about culture. How was this culture created? it didn't happen just like boom, like
Yeah,
from
exactly.
the other one, right?
Yeah, you want to know where you want to put your roots at some
Yes.
point. Yeah.
Yes, you can use that as a source of inspiration, of course. So is your daughter who say that she wants to start from scratch?
Yeah.
You know what? I think new generations are so different, so
Yeah.
different, because I studied arts later on in life. I wasn't that young. But even people who were younger than me at that time, they were actually wanting to learn more technique at university. And now I see that younger people, they actually feel comfortable with it.
Mm-hmm.
Because for us it was like, oh, this is scary.
Yeah.
You know, like I think we were still thinking about the old school of teaching art.
Yeah.
Which was very much, you know, I started some painting back in Mexico, and I was like, they taught me the technique and I enjoyed it, you know. But then I was like, no, I don't want to paint just like bowls of fruits and flowers.
Yeah, all the time. My God.
For that, then I'd just rather take a picture.
Yeah.
I want to express myself. I want to just express yourself. So I respect new generations who are so comfortable with that feeling of, I don't want to do it, that freedom. But it's like, you know, when you talk to your grandparents, I don't have my grandparents, they don't live anymore. But I enjoy talking to older people because they're so wise.
Yeah.
They're so wise. And I really enjoy it. So it's something that inspires me, something that makes me appreciate things, to value things more.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it's the same for art. I mentioned that about culture, but also for art. I think it's the same, you know, it's just being respectful for other types of art, what other people did in the past. Yeah. Actually, the ability, the technique, the amazing technique that they had, that it's actually superhuman.
Yeah.
I cannot replicate any of that. I can't. I'm totally honest. I can't. And I'm not willing to, because for me, art is more about, you know, just letting things out, expressing it. And if possible, creating something positive for somebody who buys your art, that can create an atmosphere in your house or whatever, you know, in an office.
That you look at the piece and you feel better straight away.
Yes, or you pass by and it's like, oh, yes, I feel some air or something. But yes, it's interesting to see actually what's going to happen in the future, because so many people talk about, is the end of painting. Painting is dead. I don't think it's dead.
No. It's different. I mean, now many people just do digital art, but it's a different kind of art. It's not it doesn't come to take the place of the painting with the brush. It's a completely different way to create, basically. It doesn't mean that one is better than the other or whatever. Of course, everyone has preferences. I still prefer the classic brush with the paint, but again, it's a matter of taste.
It's a matter of taste, yes, and exactly. No art movement is replacing the previous one.
Yeah, exactly. Is enriching it, is adding something, taking away something else. That's all. That's all. Yeah. And well, in your pieces, I saw a lot of circles, triangles, apart the color, of course. the beautiful color. Amazing. But do they have an explanation, a story behind why the circle and why the triangles?
Yes. I like to bring things to completion, you know, and I feel that circles, it's actually for me a mental process to have that feeling. And I like to see things from beginning to end. And for me, it relates perhaps a lot to my family. It's just like, I consider myself to be like a mix of things. Although I was born in Mexico, I'm Mexican. And I've been adopted by this country. And in so many ways, I feel like this is also my home.
No, of course.
When you start to feel that division, that, ooh, like I got one foot in here, the other one is on the other side. But yeah, I have a story of family migrating from Europe to America, to the USA, and then going down to Mexico.
Oh, really? Oh, wow.
In Mexico, and that's from my mom's side, and from my dad's side, he's Mexican, 100%, and his roots are 100% Mexican. Of course, Mexico is a mix of cultures as well. We got the indigenous culture mixed with the Spanish culture, and then that side of my family who actually had that in their beings, that kind of migrating, kind of migrating, actually doing it. I think that, I don't know if it just was passed on to me after having
to close the circle.
Yes.
Yeah. Coming back to Europe
for me, it's like I'm closing a circle, and I'm still trying to digest it. I'm still trying to, that's why, I draw them, because for me it's just a way to try to understand myself as well.
Of course.
And I just so feel it's like closing a circle, and it feels sometimes like a big responsibility.
Yeah, because it can be the beginning.
Because it can be the beginning as well.
So you closed something, but probably you are opening something else.
You don't know what's the beginning and what's the end in a circle, don't you?
There isn't. I mean, sometimes they overlap. Sometimes you don't know where it starts and where it finishes.
And I find that really fascinating. But
yeah, it is actually.
I think for me, it's like my job is closing the circle, and then let's see what happens. Yeah. Let's see what happens. The triangle.
Future generations will know.
Future generations will know, exactly. They will know. Your daughter will know. And the triangles, I always felt fascinated by triangles since younger. Before joining painting classes, I was drawing them and painting them. And then I came to know that they are the strongest geometrical shapes.
Yeah.
Because if you push them from either side, they don't collapse.
Yeah.
And I was like, wow, I love that. And in the representation of the element of air is represented by a triangle with a line on the top. And I was like, yes. And I feel quite connected to that element.
Actually, today I was writing a post. And my element of choice is the water. It's funny that now you are mentioning another element that you identify yourself with it.
Yes, I felt so identified with that shape for a reason since very young age, before finding out some other attributes to the shape. And of course, in Mexico, we have the pyramids. As well, and I think it's a very energetic shape. And my dad, he's a civil engineer, so maybe that's how I ended up picking up something a bit more structured.
Exactly.
Because it's like
there's anyway an influence and a connection with everything you lived in your life. Now you are giving explanation to it, but unconsciously you were absorbing, of course.
There we go, going back to history, isn't it?
And culture and heritage.
I mean, it's not that there's something like, I don't know, woohoo behind the triangle, or I just see it as strength, and I just I just love that. And at the same time, it represents air and that fluidity and that
freedom. Yeah.
Yes, which is something I always, I mean, when I think about me being here, you know, and having been the traveler, the gypsy who decided to, who knows, maybe
to start a different adventure.
To start a different adventure. That's something I really appreciate from my parents, for example, you know, allowing me to have that freedom, which is not easy. I mean, freedom is not, it sounds like, yes, freedom, but you know, you also learn about freedom.
Yes, of course. Until you experience it, you don't really know the meaning of the word, yes. Right? So I also, well, now I saw that we had a long, juicy conversation. I normally ask my guests at the end of the episode if, apart from positive thinking, we talked about if there's another word that is very close to your heart.
Yes, it's a little phrase, and it's cultivate your energy.
Okay.
Cultivate your energy. Yes.
Yeah, definitely every day, in
every
experience.
Every day it can be just being mindful about, I don't know, maybe you like to drink orange juice every day. I love orange juice, you know, I love my fruit. I love all these things, you know, that is part of my culture. That it's just tasting it, feeling it, you know, it's not like, oh, just sitting down and like drinking it, you know, it's actually
but doing it in a mindful way.
Doing things in a mindful way, definitely, and doing things even though they are smaller, like going back, closing the circle, going back to why sometimes positivity can be harmful if it's not the right approach.
Yeah.
And building up that good positivity and healthy positivity. Like, okay, you know, I'm not maybe feeling good today, but don't focus just on what might go wrong. Think about what could go right, you know, and if that's just boom, like that happening in your system, it's fine, you know, like that's it. That's one step. And then
at least,
another step, you know, it's something every day, something that is good to do every day. It doesn't have to be like, oh, you know, I'm gonna like
rush the process.
Rush the process. Art can be healing, and healing takes time. And it's going back to emotions that you should then pile up in your system, because eventually they end up laying around your energetic field, your aura, and eventually you end up getting ill, you know, depressed.
From the weight, carrying the weight of the negative.
So your energy it's just everything, right? It's everything. It's not just about, of course you rationalize things and you have a logic for things, that's your left side of the brain, but it's just about, it's just allowing yourself, giving yourself the permission to see the good things, and giving yourself the permission to actually feel what doesn't feel comfortable. And
as you said, I mean, it's okay not to be okay.
It's okay not to
be, and it's
okay.
very okay also to be okay.
And choose the support and self-care. It's basically self-care. Be mindful about your energy.
Self-care, and put ourselves as a priority from time to time.
Well, if we are not okay with ourselves, we are not okay with anyone.
Yeah, exactly. We have to live with ourselves all our life. So
we
no way to escape that.
No, and we have to acknowledge that it's okay not to be okay, and I'm not gonna be feeling like this forever, and see some good things, of course, around you, and then take it from there, and build it up, and then suddenly it's like, oh my god, I feel so good,
made it.
happy. And then you do something, you take an inspiring step towards your goals. If you are a writer, I think you're a writer as well.
Well, I have a book in the making. Yeah.
Okay, so those acts of self-love is basically self-love, taking care of yourself, being mindful of your energy and cultivating it. And then if you practice that every day, eventually
it's very similar to positive thinking we were talking earlier. If you make it a habit, then it will be easier to take the little tricks that we know to
making a habit. Exactly, those tricks. I like that I found the trick, which is, this is the moment when I should well, I shouldn't say I should, when I'm ready, when I'm ready to write the next chapter, or when I'm ready to actually start painting, or when I'm ready for what you want. Okay, there's nothing wrong in writing badly or painting something that looks,
of course, but you need to take action. You need to do it. Then whatever is the result,
whenever you're in a better place,
exactly,
and then the results are going to be what you are trying to achieve. And it's not about forcing yourself to push yourself
be in a place different from where you are.
Finding supportive friends as well.
Yeah.
People who want to have a conversation about what's going on, and communicating with yourself as well. That's so important. So yes, I feel like
cultivate energy is definitely the way to go.
Cultivate energy, and of course, and do follow healthy positivity. Not positivity that makes you feel bad or awkward because you're actually not feeling that at that moment. I know it's
great.
There's so many things.
We will have a second part of this conversation, I'm sure. Another interview. Okay, so well, I love you and leave you all. I just want to remind everyone that all the contacts to reach out to Jennifer are in the post in bio on my website, on YouTube. So spread around and go and check her beautiful art. And actually you have workshops as well, exhibitions, a lot of things going on, a bit I think impacted by the pandemic, but still your art is out there. Okay, thanks a lot for being with us, and thank you everyone.
Thank you, Mara.